Setting up your snowboard is super easy once you know how. Taking the time to get it right makes you more stable, helping you ride more terrain with ease, giving you more range of movement in your lower joints and more performance in your snowboarding. The first step is to try and figure out if you're goofy or regular. Goofy snowboarders ride with their right foot forward and regular riders ride with their left foot forward. Try running and sliding on floorboards, and whichever foot naturally moves forward is going to be your front foot. Once your front foot is sorted, work out your stance width by putting your bindings just outside of your shoulder width as a starting point. How and where you ride will determine your stance type and which angles you should use. Beginners and freestyle riders are best suited to riding a centered duck stance of equal angles. Start at +15 and -15 if it's your first time. Riding with a centered stance and equal angles helps your joints stay in alignment and distributes your weight evenly across your board, making learning and park landings really simple. All mountain riders, or those that are all about that carving life, can afford to set their stance back. This makes their turns easier and more controlled by distributing their weight closer to the tail of their board. When setting up a directional stance, riders usually angle their front binding towards the nose of their board and their back foot close to zero. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a centered stance with 15-15 angles. Place your bindings on your board approximately shoulder width to start. Remove the footbeds so that you can have access to the screw slots. Align the slots of the bindings with the holes in the board. Place your screws diagonally opposite and only tighten them just slightly. This allows you to see where your binding will sit on your board. When you're happy with its position, screw in the other two screws and then tighten them all up as much as they can go. If you're wondering what these two holes are for, it's for the Burton channel system, so we don't need to use it with our setup today. Replace the footbed. When you screw it in, you have the option of moving it quite far forward if you've got long boots, but I move it all the way back because I've got quite small feet. Once you've tightened up that screw, you can do the same thing on your other binding. If you prefer to ride more aggressively, add some forward lean to your high backs. This helps with the quick translation of forces and responsiveness in your riding. Using the tab on the back of your bindings and the slider, move this up or down depending on how aggressive you want to ride. For beginner riders or park riders, I suggest you just leave it at neutral. Some tweaks to your bindings can make a big difference in how your boots fit inside them. Adjusting your heel cups by pushing them in to allow for small boots to sit in the middle of your bindings, or pulling the heel cup backwards so larger boots don't overhang on the toe edge can make a big difference to your riding, especially your carving. Make sure your binding straps are snug so you don't lose performance, but not so that they're so tight that they become uncomfortable. Now there are a few tweaks that females can use to help improve our riding. Now, our anatomy is different. The female pelvis is broader than the male's, and combine that with short and internally rotated femurs, our knees tend to track over the inside of our feet and our big toes, creating uneven pressures on our snowboard. As women, we should aim to have a combined binding angle of between 25 and 30 degrees to help evenly distribute this weight across our snowboard. This promotes our knee tracking directly over the center of our feet and therefore increase in our performance. If you find that you're struggling with bad posture on your snowboard, by pushing your hips backwards and bending your torso too far forwards, a very small adjustment towards the toe edge of your board can help bring your center of mass towards the midline of your snowboard, promoting a stacked and neutral position, and therefore an increase in our performance. Finding your stance sweet spot can take a few days to get right, but when you do, you'll be able to feel it in your riding. Just change one thing at a time so that you know what works and what doesn't, and rinse and repeat until you find out what works best for you and your snowboarding. This has been Alex for She Snowboards on how to improve your balance and performance in your snowboarding through your snowboard setup. Make sure that you're following us on Facebook and Instagram, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.